and welcome to the Power Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dawson, joined by my lovely fellow hosts, Johnny Paulus and
Hello.
Kim Ponticello. Kim, welcome in. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing really great. I am. I have something exciting that's happening that I can't talk about yet, and it's killing me.
Oh no.
I know. Yeah, I've been loving streams this week. I've streamed extra long because I'm like obsessed with the game, and yeah, you know.
Kay's cooking has returned.
I've been doing my Mickey office hours. So during stream, because I stream for sometimes 7.5 hours, even when I say I'm only going to stream for 6, I take a break and I have lunch because you need to have lunch. And rather than gulping down food, I bring my food in here. And sometimes my community goes and they get lunch and they get some food and we all watch videos together. And we usually watch Kay's cooking, which is, I can't even describe to you the rage that ensues in me watching her cook, but like you can't help it. It's like a train wreck. You know what I mean?
What is Kay's cooking?
Okay. So Kay is this lovely British woman, right? I adore her and I really commend her for trying. I really do. But when I tell you, I have never seen anybody with such little cooking skill, and the stuff that she makes, and when she cuts things, her hand is always flat and the knife is right by her finger, and I scream every time because I'm like, you're gonna cut your finger off, like, and the food is absolutely disgusting looking. Half the time it looks like vomit, but you can't help but watch because it's like, it's literally like a train wreck. And the food is so bad, but it's so funny to watch. But she's so lovely. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Is it KAY''S?
KAYS cooking.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll have to check that out.
Oh boy, I'd love to know what you think. Yeah. They make
Like-
me watch the Italian ones, especially. They're like, oh look, there's one that's spaghetti bolognese. Put that one on, and I'm like, I don't want to watch that one. And they're like, you're gonna watch it. Put it on right now. And I'm like, oh my god, I watch the Italian ones and I scream the entire time.
To paint a better picture of this, she's very nice and good intention, but it looks like we picked up a piece of Brooklyn, Baltimore, and plopped it in England. Like, this kitchen is the most disgusting, like, filthy looking kitchen you've ever seen in your life. And I mean, she usually looks like she just like rolled out of bed and ran into the kitchen and turned on her camera.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, she's like has to have a legitimate fear of seasoning because she doesn't season like anything
British.
that she cooks, and it's just it's horrifying. It's
like every British person in my community who watches it with me. I'm literally like, she didn't put any seasoning in there, and every British person is like, yep, that's UK. That's England. I'm like, what do you mean? So yeah, she's like, we're gonna put some salt in, and like that's it for the entire dish.
The seasoning is the dirty ass pan that it went into.
It's so bad. The heat's never high enough, and like, oh, it's just so, I have
microphone is too
the
good.
Noodles boiling. I have the noodles boiling, and then like like you could see the pot of noodles in the background. You can see there's like no water left in it, and the pasta
burning
noodles are like touching the lid, so they've soaked up every ounce of the liquid that was in there, and she still has to put it in the dish and bake it. And like, and I can't.
The microphone is too good
can't.
on the camera because then, like, when the fork comes in contact with the noodles.
Oh yeah, like when she was scooping them out, you could hear it.
Sound.
It was like stirring mac and cheese. Oh my! But it was like plain pasta.
Okay, this sounds awesome.
So that's my lunch breaks. We watch like game trailers, we watch movie trailers, but a lot of times when Kay has a new video, we throw that on.
Cringe.
And
porn.
so yeah,
it's cringe.
my office hours have now started again because I do one long stream now, and it's been so fun to do again because I really missed it. I like it.
Johnny, welcome in, sir. How are you doing this week?
Good. So this Sunday was the day. So for my oldest, one of his favorite bands is a band called AJR, and they're now on tour. So for Christmas, I got 2 tickets for Megan and Liam to go see AJR.
Very cool.
So that meant that me and my youngest, we had what we like to call a dude hang. So we had the house to ourselves for the whole night Sunday. And we're like, where are we going to go for dinner? And I said, I know exactly where we're going. We went to hibachi. He's never had hibachi before.
Oh, I love hibachi.
So we did some steak and shrimp hibachi. And then we went home and he's like, well, we have to play some games. What are we going to play? And we're like scrolling through. And I finally started playing It Takes Two with my youngest. So I'll talk about that later. But yeah, it was really, really fun.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
excellent. Yeah, I've been a slave to the job this week. I've been
I hear that.
Like so inundated with work. But in between, I'm pleased to announce I had a lot of time to play some games this week. Johnny doesn't have a monopoly on gigs. I have a show that I'm playing this Sunday as a true mercenary bass player. So that's going to be cool. Over in Odenton, no less, one of Johnny's famous haunt towns here in Maryland.
I'll be there Friday.
Where the locals have the awful tendency to say it in the native accent. Odenton,
yeah.
Odenton, Juan.
100%.
So
that was so good.
Oh yeah, I restrain mine a lot. There's sometimes it comes through, and I just can't help it. Especially when it's time to change the oil on my car. It's off. Now, Kim, everybody knows you've got the Jersey like to the max.
I do.
But the Mid-Atlantic Baltimoreese is particularly obnoxious when it's unchecked. Because you go from sounding like a normal human being to sounding like a crazed British mutant. So for the rest of the show, hon, we're going to talk like that.
Absolutely
not.
South Jersey has that accent too, though.
It does. It's very similar. It's very similar.
Movie. I saw a movie.
Yeah,
they would always say, I saw a movie.
The part of Baltimore that I work in is like one of the most famous areas for the most intense version of that accent. So I really have to keep that in check when I'm speaking to people.
It's going to bleed out on you.
It does every now and again, but
yeah.
I can speak mostly proper non-Maryland harbor boy. So we'll try and keep it that way. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. This is episode 155 of your Power Gamer podcast. We appreciate your kindness and support, and wherever you're choosing to either watch or listen to the show, take a moment, leave us a 5-star review. If you're checking us out on audio platforms, as many of you have done, if you're checking us out on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. It's time to get things started. One of the most anticipated games of this year for myself, as I've made no secret, is a little game called Star Wars Outlaws, which is strange for a number of reasons. One, it's strange because I'm excited for it, and it's Star Wars. Now, I love Star Wars, as many of you know, but I hate the inundation of content that we've been hammered with lately, basically diluting a lot of the things that I like with a bunch of stuff that we, in my opinion, didn't exactly need, with few exceptions. One of the areas I feel like, and I know in the past, just me and Johnny talking about this, we've agreed, like one of the areas that needed to be explored was the area of not Jedi. It's why we have a deep love for Andor, because it's
why Andor was so good. Yep,
it's exploring those in between areas, and from what we've seen of Star Wars Outlaws so far, it looks to be a game mostly about the smuggling world and the criminal world of Star Wars. Which, yeah, great. This is what we want. So I'm excited for that. And another thing that makes it interesting is I've never been a person to say I don't like Ubisoft games. I quite the opposite, actually. I tend to like them. They scratch that itch for me quite well. But I can't think of another time where the game that I've been most excited for in a calendar year is a Ubisoft game. So this is kind of like a double weird for me that it's both Star Wars and Ubisoft. It's coming this year, and I'm super excited for it. That's where I'm at. Johnny, I'll come to you first as our resident madly in love with Star Wars personality. Are you excited for Star Wars Outlaws?
I'm very excited for this game. For me, watching the original Star Wars, it wasn't the lightsabers that caught my attention. It was the cantina and the weird little aliens and like the little, the back corners and the huts and the mobsters and the gangsters. Like that's what this game is, and that's why I'm so excited for it. I want to see heists and getaways and betrayals of this criminal with that criminal, and I mean everything we've seen from the game. When we got a new story trailer this week, it was just awesome. This is my most anticipated of the year at this point too. I mean, I just can't wait. It looks amazing
for sure. And I mean, there's been a long time coming for us to actually have a Star Wars game that takes place in an open world.
Yeah,
we've not really had that before, so that's kind of another interesting layer to this that I think is cool. Kim, coming over to you. You are our in-house Ubisoft creator, which is awesome. So I know this falls into that wonderful Ubisoft wheelhouse for you. Now, I'm not going to ask you to spill any beans and talk about things that you can't talk about if there's any relaying to that. I know this game's kind of far out, so maybe there's not yet.
Nope.
We're not going to see it till what I think August it is.
August.
But certainly that there's a possibility of something like that coming. That all being said, just kind of looking at it from afar, what are your thoughts on this? Is this something that you're excited for or interested in?
I am so excited. I mean, for goodness sake, I have a Jedi tattoo on my arm. I'm a massive Star Wars fan. I have been since I was a kid. But same thing, whereas I have a Jedi tattoo, my daughter and I actually have matching tattoos because we love the like tenets around Jedi. I love bounty hunters. I love same thing like the criminal world, the underground. I mean, for goodness sake, I have a whole like Boba Fett thing that you open up and it has all the books for Boba Fett, and I love Cad Bane, and like I love the underground and all the dirt and grit of Star Wars. And so this is between my love of Ubisoft and my love of Star Wars. This is by far my most anticipated game, and I'm absolutely dodging the trailer. I'm dodging anything that is said about the game because I literally want to go in with like nothing, with a totally clear mind. As for the whole Ubisoft wheelhouse, I can tell you this. We didn't get access to Avatar. These are the same developers. So as a creator, I highly doubt we're going to get access to Outlaws. But man, like the deepest portions of my heart are like, please, 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 Ubisoft, please grant me this game.
Do you don't get Ubisoft Connect with your creator account?
No, I do have 1 month free. I have 1 month free available.
Well, there you go.
But this is a game I'd want.
Yeah.
Like this is a game I want for myself. So yeah, I highly doubt we're gonna get it. My fingers are crossed because you just never know, but I'm getting it no matter what. So I mean, even if Ubisoft is like, yeah, sorry, creators, no can do, I'm gonna have this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of my last thought on just the anticipation of the game. We did an episode when it was first announced, and an episode that actually did pretty stinking well. But one of the things that grabbed me right off the bat is kind of the character that you play as. Her name is Kay Vess in the game, and she to me just is a pretty great character design for what I want. You know, I like that the character is female. I like that she kind of has that tomboy vibe to her, but that she's not a copy paste of Han Solo. And that it's not Han Solo. Even
Right.
more importantly, I like that it's a new story. I like the portrayal. And so I was surprised this past week to see a lot of hoopla, you know, a lot of those noisy noises online about the main character. I don't know if you guys saw this or just are going to react to what I'm telling you. But there's a lot of yuck floating around the internet about it being a female character that they say has been made ugly. I'm like, she's
Hold on a
ugly?
second. Let me put on my shocked face.
I'm like, how is she ugly?
I don't get
How
this
is
at
she
all.
ugly? Because her tits aren't hanging out.
Right. Yeah.
She doesn't have this like hourglass figure with a gigantic bulbous ass. Like that's how she's ugly.
Nailed it.
That's
Yep.
it.
Yeah, that was so wild to me. I'm like, how are people are gonna? Anyone's gonna get upset over that? Okay, I guess. I don't know. So I thought that was strange, but I just wanted to say for the record, I mean, basically ever since she was introduced, I thought, wow, this character looks dope, and I'm pretty excited to play as her.
Agreed.
That's not to say that, you know, I have really any preference. I think Eve from Stellar Blade, that game coming up, that again, there's a lot of noise around because she does have the big booty and the big boobs. But I'm like, she looks fucking cool too. So I don't really, I don't know, I don't really buy into that. But
See, I'm not gonna lie. That for me is honestly a deterrent. It's one of the main reasons why I'm not that excited about Stellar Blade. Is just like, is it just tits and ass? Is that like all you're selling me? Because if that's it, I'm, you know, I mean, there's been plenty of games where it's, you know, I mean, I stated last week it's one of the main reasons why I'm not a huge Tifa fan. It's just it's so she has gigantic fake Q tits, like.
Well, and it's
It's
so
just
overdone.
ridiculous. It's
so
too
overdone.
much.
You know, I love the fact that we're starting to see, like, same thing with the new Fable. We're starting to see more like realistic female protagonists, you know, instead of, you know, these. And I have nothing against a beautiful set of boobs. I mean, I'm bisexual. Give me a beautiful set of boobs any day.
Likewise.
But like, I don't know, like,
particularly notable on your Ko-fi channel. Continue.
facts. But like, I love the fact that we're getting more realistic, just like kind of like, you know, just a woman. You know, she's a woman bounty hunter. She's not going to be wearing stilettos. She's not going to be wearing a shirt with her cleavage, you know, a shirt with a V down to her belly button. She's a bounty hunter in dangerous areas. And so she's, you know, I love that fact, but you're going to have people complaining no matter what. Whenever there's a female protagonist, there are complaints. Like, you know, there are so many normal looking guys as protagonists, like Nathan Drake, like a normal looking, handsome kind of guy. He's not like this like guy who's built like a bulldog. You know what I mean? He's just this normal, nerdy history geek, you know, and we don't have a problem with him. He's amazing, you know, but it seems like whenever there's a female protagonist, it's like, you know, there's going to be complaints. If, you know, if her tits are hanging out, blah, blah, of course. And if they're not hanging out, then it's like, she's ugly. So it's like, come on, man, just love the game. Just either love the game or don't love the game. Stop it. Just stop. Like, who cares?
It's almost so predictable that you just think it's just noisemakers. Because I don't know anyone that would look at Cave S and be like, she's ugly. I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. It's actually a very beautiful character.
Yeah.
That looks, I mean, other than the hair, a lot like the actress that portrays her voice and did her mocap. So I don't know. I just wanted to say something there because I was kind of taken aback by that. I thought that was really strange that was even a story this past week.
It's the weird vocal minority of people that, like, you know, when they announced that The Little Mermaid was going to be a black woman, it's the same people that are just, there's just this little pocket that if it's not like just as white bread as you can possibly fucking imagine, they're gonna be pissed. Like if they're anything other than super straight, super blonde, and big old boobs, they're like, oh, what is this?
I don't know. It's on the other side of that coin. I mean, not to veer completely off topic, but just to take a moment. I've heard a lot more noise over the Stellar Blade character, Eve, than I have this. I mean, by far. And now I know I'm living in the media cycle on that. Maybe the most out of the three of us. But I would say that she's faced the most backlash of all, which I also think is kind of fucked up. Because, like, what's the problem with the character being beautiful?
Right.
You know, what's...
I mean, not for nothing, but usually the complaints come from, and I don't use this word often, but I'm going to throw this word out.
Do it.
Incels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Incels.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, I think we're at this juncture where female protagonists in games have become quite a commonplace, honestly. Like there's tons of them, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But there's always something wrong with them to someone. But then you just don't see the same thing on the other side of the coin when it's a male protagonist. You know, if it's Cal Kestis, who's just this normal looking red-haired dude, or Nathan Drake, or whatever, or Joel from The Last of Us, you know, it's like, okay, that's my guy. Fine. Yep. So I just think it's weird, but Cave S is actually an anti-deterrent. She draws me into this game. I love the character design. I love the voice acting. I think the voice acting, from what I saw of the first trailer, I'm kind of in trailer dodge mode at this point, where I want a lot of the story elements to be surprises to me. So I'm not watching the newest one, but from what I did see already, it looks very well put together and very well voice acted, which is great. I'm very curious to get into this world. Now, it wouldn't be Ubisoft without controversy, because my God, they just can't seem to shake it. But it's a little baked in at this point. I mean, we talked about this some with Skull and Bones, of course. We obviously all play a bunch of Ubisoft games here. We're all fans. I love the Avatar game. We've played a bunch of Assassin's Creed titles, so you know, say what you will about them, they do fill a spot in our gaming calendars, and they're really not bad products. But one of the main things they get criticized for the most is greed. They cannot shake this constant criticism that the way that they monetize single player games is a little icky feeling. That's to me, that's a fair point to make. But I want to dive in a little deeper here on Star Wars Outlaws, because the pricing and the different editions has been revealed. So no surprises. We've got a AAA game coming out here in 2024 that's highly anticipated, that looks like a ton of money and time has been put into it. If you just want to go buy the game, you're going to pay $69.99. I don't think there's anything remarkable about that at all. That's kind of the norm for a AAA title. The next level up, the Gold Edition, you get the game. You get 3 days early access if you pre-order it. And you get a season pass. To buy the Gold Edition of the game, it's going to be $109.99. So $110, let's say. Finally, you have the Ultimate Edition. You get your very own Death Star. I mean, I'm in. I'm kidding. You don't get a Death Star, but what you do get is you get the full game. You get the season pass. You get the 3-day early access. And you get a Rogue Infiltrator bundle. So you get some skins for K, for a ship, etc. You get a digital art book. And you get the Sabacc Shark bundle. So some cards for the in-game card game.
Sabacc confirmed. I'm actually excited about that.
Sabacc was really good in Knights of the Old Republic. It's a fun game. I imagine it'll follow suit on that. We'll see. Who knows? But to get the Ultimate Edition is breaking new ground. It's $129.99. So $130 to get the biggest version of this game. So naturally, with new prices being explored, higher prices being explored, And frankly, I mean, even to me, I'm looking at that and saying $130 is a lot of fucking money for a game. That's almost 2 full price AAA releases. But it is what it is. I mean, this is where the pricing is falling for it. And a lot of people are a bit turned off by that. I think there's some questions around it. And I want to explore that a little bit, but kind of to get started, I just kind of want to gut check the two of you. So, Johnny, coming to you first. You see the 3 editions there. What are your thoughts on the pricing for this game?
Well, so I didn't really see what the big deal is here. We've seen plenty of games that are $70, and we've seen plenty of games with the season pass that are like $100 or $110. So, I mean, the $129, yeah, it's a lot of money. Am I going to spend that money? No. I'm on the whole other end of the spectrum. I'm going, oh, it's on Ubisoft Connect? Done. I'll just pay the subscription, and then if I'm done and there's no other Ubisoft games I want to play, I'll cancel my subscription. But, you know, one of the big things I think about when I saw people freaking out over this is if we just look at inflation, and we're lucky as gamers. We're super fucking lucky as gamers. People are still crying the blues about $70 video games. I remember when Streets of Rage 3 came out on Sega Genesis, I had saved up my allowance for weeks and weeks and weeks in anticipation for this game. And I bought Streets of Rage 3 for $80 on the Sega Genesis. And I took it home and I sat down and I beat it in like 3 hours, and I immediately burst into tears. It was my first time I ever had true buyer's remorse. It was like I saved up all this money. I sat down in one sitting and beat the fucking game. And my dad, being the Chad that he is, said, get in the car. And we went right back to Electronics Boutique and went, you're giving my son his money back. And they're like, oh, we don't have a return policy. The game's open. And he was just like, I don't give a shit. He saved up all his money for all this time, and then he sat down and beat it in a day. And he's like, you know, upset about it. But, you know, the point is that at that time, a gallon of gas was like probably 70 cents. Nowadays, a gallon of gas is $3.50, $4. You know, everything is like double, triple what it was back then. And video games are still kind of around what they were. I mean, our entire childhood games were 50, 60, $70. So, you know, the thing with the 129 is if you think it's too much money, don't spend it.
I do actually kind of want to talk to some of those points a little bit.
Sure.
And maybe just to spread a layer of context on top. So I think one of the greatest differences that we're seeing right now is a failure of consumers to realize that they're buying a digital product license. That, you know, when games were expensive back in the day, there was a lot more that went into it. There was manufacturing the game, pressing it to a large cartridge, printing an entire book, a case, shipping it physically to a retailer, the retailer taking their cut, as well as the manufacturers taking their cut before the game ultimately got to you. Nowadays, when you buy a game digitally, there's only one rip occurring, and it might not occur depending on where you buy it from. So like if I buy this game from Sony takes their 30% rip, and Ubisoft gets 100% of everything else. And if you go and buy it from the Ubisoft store, they get all of it. And there's no lost cost to a retailer. There's no lost cost for manufacturing. There's no lost cost for shipping and ensuring that shipment. So there's kind of two sides to the coin. I am devil's advocating a little bit. But back in the day when you paid all that money, you were getting a big box.
Right. Yep.
You're getting a piece of metal, a cartridge encased in plastic with beautiful art on it. You were getting books. There was a lot that went into it back then. So although I understand to your point, Johnny, that inflation's happened and things like that, I do think that there's validity in people being upset with price when all of the middlemen these days have basically been cut out of the equation. And so profits on games, the profitability of gaming, the money made in gaming, the size of the gaming market these days is so exponentially larger than it was when it was truly a niche product, like back in the Genesis era, back in the SNES era. Really, until as recent as the tail end of PS3 and 360, gaming didn't have even a slice of the market size that it has now, nor did it have digital distribution. I mean, that's still a new thing that came about in the PS3 360 generation of games. So I think there is some pullback when somebody sees, I'm getting a digital art book. I'm getting a digital copy of the game. I'm getting some digital items that come in this game. And I'm paying $130. And I have to have an internet connection to even play this game. You can't play it offline. So I do see some validity in the upset over getting to $130 in price. Just because so many of the other factors of cost have been alleviated from the situation. And also, too, the player base that there is that buys the games is like 1,000% larger than it was, back in the early 90s. So I don't know if you've got any retorts for me on that, if I'm off base anywhere, and
No,
kind of how I look at that. But
I see your point, but I do have another retort. Another thing that's changed drastically since back then, and this is something that I'm always talking about, and I'm always retweeting shit on Twitter when I see the deals, is that right now in gaming, if you really want to play Star Wars Outlaws, but you don't want to spend the $70, you can wait 3 months and get it for $40. You can wait a year and get it for $20. You can wait a year and a half and it'll be on PlayStation Plus or Game Pass or one of the other subscriptions that you probably already have. So I think right now, as much as we want to complain about the prices, I mean, we're living in a golden age of gaming. There's so many fucking games to play, and almost all of them are available with a subscription, which granted, you're not owning the game, but you're also not buying the game. But there's so many ways out there where you can scoop a game for so fucking cheap. And in the physical days, that wasn't a thing. I mean, the amount of times somebody comes into my channel and we're talking about this game or that game, and I'm like, oh my god. I mean, the other day, perfect example. I was like, oh my god, you've never played XCOM 2? You like strategy games? You like tactical games? Dude, you got to play XCOM 2. It's on sale on Steam all the time. And I pull up Steam, I think it was $2.99.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, that's the price of an energy drink. Like, come on. And so that's the other thing, is like, all of these games, the price just, day one, they're $70. But fast forward 3 months, fast forward 6 months, fast forward a year, they're just going to keep going down and down and down. And, that's why we all have crazy Steam libraries, because you go, shit, $4, $5, $10, done.
very good. Kim, coming over to you. I know being budget conscious is something I hear you talk about a lot, especially when it comes to games, especially with a lot of people in your streaming community. And I'm a little afraid, and maybe you've got some thoughts on this as well, that some of these prices, especially on the gold and the ultimate edition, is rather exclusive as to who can even interact with it, because it's pretty cost prohibitive for people to get there. Now, Johnny had mentioned something I was alluding to before we started recording, the Ubisoft Connect subscription.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of curious as to what your thoughts is on the pricing of owning the games, because I think I recall you saying this is one that you definitely want to actually own. But is there validity then in taking the idea of maybe it's time just to do a subscription versus actually trying to take ownership of something?
Yeah, I mean, I love as crazy as it is, I love gaming subscription services. I have Game Pass, I have PlayStation, because as a variety streamer, that's like variety streaming heaven. You have this like plethora of games you can play for, a monthly price, and as a streamer, you can write it off, right? So you write off those monthly fees. But same thing with buying a game as a streamer. If I were to buy the Ultimate Edition, I can write it off, But it does warrant, especially like, younger gamers who are, not necessarily working, especially with like, not for nothing, but especially here in the US, people are not paid. So, I know, the federal minimum wage is what, still like $7.35 or something like that? There are so many jobs that want you to have experience and are only paying like $10 an hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's, to be able to afford a game is really tough, but you can also do, like Johnny said, $20, Ubisoft Connect for a month, get through the game, have a great time with it, and then cancel your subscription. There's no, there's no downside to canceling. It's not like they're like, you can never subscribe again.
Yep.
And then when another game comes out that you want, subscribe again, $20, and you don't have the game to play whenever you want, but if you ever wanted to go back and play some more of it, you can always subscribe again. Or like was mentioned, not for nothing, games go on sale like crazy, especially for PC. Games go on sale so hard and so heavy. Avatar was on sale not long ago for what, like $36 or something like that.
Yep.
So
great game, by the way.
You can, what's that? Oh yeah, I know, game. I really want to play it. So you can, wait it out and then, get the game when when it goes on sale, when you can get it, but it's pricey and it's hard. I think what makes it even harder is I think if the rest of the world wasn't so expensive, like everything in life right now is so expensive. I place a grocery order and it's like $150 for a week's worth of food. And I'm like, man, I didn't even get anything fun.
Yeah.
Like I hardly got any meat. I didn't get anything fun. So everything is like very, very expensive right now. And so you put the prices of games on top of it, and knowing that you're not getting anything in your hand, like we talked about, like with the, being able to get a box with a book and all that good stuff. You don't have any of that in your hand. So you have this digital item for so much money. And yes, it kind of sucks. But on the other side, I feel like if we look at, well, that scared me. Riverside said I was disconnected.
Yeah,
I know, it gave me the same thing.
It's all good.
That scared me.
We're still with it. We're still with it.
Okay. I literally had like a face of panic. But on the other side, if you look at inflation compared to cost of savings with them not putting out physical copies, I don't feel that the inflation, I feel like we are pretty lucky. I don't think they've inflated as much as anything else in this economy right now. I really don't.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't have as many physical copies, but I definitely feel like even without that, prices technically should be even higher. Not that I want them to be, God.
No.
But, compared to how else everything else has inflated. Like all this TV subscription services.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the whole cut the cable thing, right? We're going to show the cable companies, we're going to cut the cable. Yeah. And now there's like 10,000 subscription services for everything. And I feel like every 6 months, the prices are raising and raising and raising. So is it expensive? Yeah. Is it expensive compared to what it probably should be priced at if we look at inflation? No.
Yeah.
Is the Ultimate Edition really pricey? Yeah. I hate how expensive it is. I really do. I'm hoping that maybe they'll back up a little bit and be like, oh, okay, all right, okay, guys, we made a mistake.
No.
Stop it. Stop. But again, if you don't want it, don't, if you can't get it, don't get it. Simple as that. And it's just that simple. Like anything else, luxury.
One other thing to consider, and this is another little feather I'll go ahead and put in Ubisoft's cap. They do go hard in the fucking paint on DLC. The DLC is probably going to be awesome. Like the
Yeah.
DLC in Valhalla was great. The DLC in Far Cry 6 has been great. Generally, if it's a game that you like playing, the season pass can be worth it. So you look at, 2 years ago, I spent $100 on the Midnight Suns Super Edition because it came with the season pass. It's the same thing. This is 110. Games then were 60. Games now are 70. Everything went up $10.
So here is my outlook on the pricing of Star Wars Outlaws and what I presume is going to be the pricing of a lot of their titles moving forward. It really helps sometimes to stop, take a moment, read everything in front of you, and breathe. So when you're buying something that's digital, it is important to remember, and Johnny, this is harkening back to a point that you made, that I just kind of wanted to let linger for a moment. If you buy a game digitally, whether you buy it on Steam, whether you buy it from Ubisoft Store, whether you buy it on PS5 or Xbox Marketplace, wherever, you own nothing. You don't own a game. You own a license that gives you access to that game. And that can go away. We've seen it with movies, where people who purchase movies lost access to being able to download them as licenses and other things expire. So there's no permanence to any digital purchase that you make. Now, not many people are worried about that because we don't see Sony going anywhere anytime soon. We don't see Microsoft going anywhere anytime soon. And certainly Steam, we don't see going anywhere anytime soon. However, all that being said, if I want to play Star Wars Outlaws, which I do, but I understand that it doesn't matter if I buy it, I don't actually own it. I think it's kind of crazy to do anything other than say, I'm going to sign up for Ubisoft Plus, and I'm going to play the game, and if I do not want anything else from Ubisoft Plus, I'm going to cancel the subscription. And I really think that we're in a phase where unless you adapt to where this is all going, I'm not saying it's going to feel good because it's a change, but this is the direction everything is moving in. So last week's episode, of course, was about me selling off my PS4, my PS5, all those discs are gone. My Xbox One and Xbox Series S discs, all gone. Why is that? Because even with the physical item in hand on a modern gaming platform, it doesn't work unless you're connected to an internet. To the internet. And this is true.
Whichever internet you may choose.
Al Gore's, of course. This game is no different. If you go and buy it physically, it requires an internet connection to be used, which completely defeats the point of a physical item. Because the whole point of a physical item is that if all I had was a TV, my game console, the game, a controller, and a power generator, I could play it. Now that's true with my copy of Hyperstone Heist for the Sega Genesis. But that would not be true with a copy of Star Wars Outlaws for my PS5. So there is no, let's be clear, there is no owning this game. You cannot own it. And I think the best thing to do is play their game right back at them. Go, okay, well, I can't own it. Do you know that if you do Ubisoft Plus for this game, you get the Ultimate Edition? You get the early access, you get the season pass, you get all the stupid skins and stuff, you get the Savak, you get the Ultimate Edition of it. Now, this game could be fucking huge, okay? I chew through big games. At worst, it's going to take me a month to beat. So $18 to play this game cover to cover. And if I want to play it again, I can pay for another month. But eventually I'm going to get bored of it and move on. Or I'm going to play through it. It's going to go on some crazy sale because it's a Ubisoft game. Or I'm going to play it. I'm not going to think about it for a while. And then it's going to show up on PS Plus, or it's going to show up on Xbox Game Pass. I mean, guys, This is the
It's true.
game the gaming industry is playing right now. And the only people that I think are truly losing out is those that aren't willing to recognize the tables have turned.
Yep.
Gaming companies want you to buy a subscription. And they want you to forget that you bought it and never turn it off.
Exactly.
That is what they want. Just
Yep.
keep track of what you're doing. Keep track of it.
Mm-hmm.
Get your Ubisoft Plus to play this game. You've invested $18. And how often is it, who out there bought a copy of Assassin's Creed Valhalla physically that since they beat that 130-hour monstrosity and all the DLC, who the fuck is ever going to put that disc back in their machine again? Who? Nobody. So move on.
Yep.
You beat it.
Yep.
You're not going to own it if you buy it digitally. If Sony goes out of business or whatever, those servers are gone. And everything that you bought there is gone. So the best way to protect yourself from digital media is by using a fucking subscription. I'm not saying that's going to feel good to everyone. But to me, I'm looking at it for what it is. The option to actually own the game has basically disappeared. If I buy it physically, it doesn't matter. I don't have any way to use that as a standalone item. The only advantage that it gives, which is a strong advantage, is that I could sell that disc to somebody else. That's where physical to me still wins out.
Yep.
But as long as I can interface with it and say, look, if I bought the game and traded it into a GameStop or sold it individually, is my net going to be worse than $18? I might as well just spend the $18 and interface with it on the subscription. So this kind of all ties into what I was talking about last week, where things are changing. But, I sit here and when I saw this, yeah, you're going to have your loud bunch on Twitter or X or whatever that goes, whoa, $130, that's outrageous for fucking skids. And you know what? I don't think that they're wrong. I think that it is outrageous. I think that it's stupid. I mean, you're not really being given anything other than the game, and you're paying twice as much. You're going to tell me that the value of some skins that you fucking made for this is worth double the cost of entry? Get the fuck out of here. No, it's not. But if I just interface with them on the field that they want me to interface with, which is to buy their subscription, even if it's just for a month, I'm out $18.
Yep.
So that's kind of my thoughts on it. I think moving forward, being smart about subscriptions, especially when you're interfacing with these companies like Ubisoft, with Sony, with Microsoft, especially because they're day oneing all of their content. That's the way to avoid the pain. And it makes it so much more accessible for people that don't have the money to drop on a game like this, which I don't blame somebody that's, in Maryland, we have it a little bit nicer. We have a $15 an hour minimum wage, but it's fucking expensive to live in Maryland. So maybe that's a trade-off. But in a lot of the states in the US, yeah, you're getting $7 an hour, So I don't think, I think $70 is going to be a bullet that a lot of people can't swallow. But $18, you have the game, you have a month to play it. Just don't have every subscription open at once. You're not going to be able to play games on 5 different services at the same time. When you're done, close it off, get a different one, and just be smart about it. So, does it suck?
Yeah, and that's
yes. But is it more a byproduct of the whole industry shifting than it is just Ubisoft? For the most part. Yeah. I mean, Ubisoft is pushing the needle in terms of what the cost is going to get to. But I think interfacing with it along the lines of a subscription is sort of the double-edged sword for them. Like, if you're smart about it, it works out best for you, and you can just get on with it and pay a lot less for games than you ever have in your life, honestly. So, Johnny, I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say what you were talking about with canceling the subscription. That's become a normal thing for me now. Once a month or so, I look at what's on Paramount Plus, what's coming to Max, what's coming to Netflix, what's coming to, and I go, they don't got shit going on next month. And I just turn it off. And I know that there's the show I'm really excited about. It's coming out June 10th. I'll sign back up on June 10th. You know, because you're right. You're not going to use all of the streaming services at once. And that goes for movies and TV, and that goes for video games. You know, pick the months where, they don't have any new releases. I already beat that game. I already beat that game. Don't care about that one. I'll sign back up when Outlaws comes out, you know?
Yeah. One of the subscriptions I pay for is an app that monitors my subscriptions and reminds me to turn them off. I pay $10 a month for something to do that for me.
That's worth it. What is that?
Rocket Money.
Free advertisement for Rocket Money.
I'm always getting ads for them on Small Town Murder, another podcast I listen to.
It's a very good,
they're always doing
very good little app. Kim, did you have anything to add on that?
No, I mean, I think subscription services are a smart way to go, especially if you're gonna, like the average player, again, turn it on, turn it off. I think the hard part is when you have somebody who is an extremely casual gamer, very, very busy life, working 2 jobs, trying to make ends meet, wanting to play a game. And then they look at the subscription and say, well, it's probably going to take me 3 to 4 months to beat this game. I may as well buy it. Like that, I think is the exception.
Well said.
But, if you're somebody who's going to like no life it and sit down and just cruise through the game, subscriptions are fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and again, gamers have that option, right? Like I would love to own Radiohead OK Computer on vinyl, but it's like $45 every time I go look at it. It's not $5 because it's over 20 years old. No, it's still 40 fucking bucks. Video games don't work like that. When a game's been out for any amount of time, the price just goes down and down and down. So in the example of that guy, I would just say wait 6 months and scoop it for 30 or 40 bucks.
What I think is the most ironic of all is that game subscriptions aren't $60, $70 a month. Because that's more in line to relative of what they cost. Spotify has always been a no-brainer because it's like, oh man, it's like the cost of buying a CD back in the day. It's $20 for my whole family.
Right.
And I pay that. I don't even think twice about it, relative to what it costs.
Same.
Netflix, $20 or $25, whatever it is now for my big family plan. Yeah, that's the cost of a UHD disc. Games are $70. And the subscription to have access to them is cheaper than everything else. So, I think it's really dumb of these companies to be kind of shooting themselves in the foot. I feel like you would want people just to buy your product, but they've kind of put forth a solution to a problem that doesn't exist and offering us access for, honestly, peanuts of what the thing costs. If I wanted to sign up for Spotify for a month to listen to, the new Radiohead album or whatever, I'm going to pay the same amount that I would for the CD or to buy it digitally and own it.
Yeah.
Versus with this, I'm going to pay a third of what they're asking for the game, and I'm going to get the version of the game that costs 6 times the amount. Okay. Wow, that wasn't a hard decision at all. Because I'm not going to own it either way. Not really. So, yeah, I get why people are upset. It is such a crazy amount of money for digital doodads on top of the game. But I think people just kind of need to start adopting a new paradigm for how you interface with these companies. If it's sustainable for Ubisoft to have people come have a $18 cup of coffee with them for a month and still make AAA games that cost them hundreds of millions of dollars to make, that tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it? If they can run their business on that much less capita than they were from selling you something that costs them, again, nothing to distribute to you. Okay? And they're getting by okay? Well, fuck it. Let them just have less, I guess. Take less of my money. Twist my arm. So... right? So Star Wars Outlaws.
Welcome to the digital age, Mike.
So
I love it.
Crazy.
Right?
It's so crazy. That's all I have to say about that. If you two are satisfied, we can move on to our next segment.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we've been playing this week. Kim, I'm going to come to you first on this one. What have you been playing this week?
Yes. So I've been playing. Actually, I'm gonna start at the end and go to what I've been playing the most. So, a new game was picked out of my fishbowl, SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. And I hate to say it, I'm having a lot of fun on it. It's really goofy.
Good game.
It's bright. The graphics are beautiful. I have the rehydrated version. Okay. And it's
We're not
honestly
playing around here with our SpongeBob game.
No. And honestly, it's been a lot of fun. Is it like streamer material where I'm gonna get like a ton of people in there being like, wow, look at that? Absolutely not. But I have my wonderful regulars there, and I had somebody come in today who said that they 100%ed the game last month. I was like, oh no, maybe it was last year. I can't remember. And I was like, it's just so cool getting those people in who just have a love for games like, like these niche little games. It just means so much to me. I'm like, oh, so how'd you find my stream? And they were like, I looked up the game. It's like, well, that's easy because there's like, what, 2 people playing it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really funny. I really love, I really like when people pop in because they have this like love of a certain game. And so there's like that aspect of it. And it happens every time I play a really bizarre game,
I had that a lot when I was doing the Silent Hill series. Kind of when I did my last toe dip of, do I really hate streaming as much as I think I do? And the answer was yes.
Yes, I do.
Lots of people would stop by the channel because it's like, oh wow, you're playing it on. I was super nerding out because I had the actual PS2 set up and stuff. So, but yeah, no, people love their old games. Retro's back in a big way.
They do.
It really is.
They do. They like some of the little niche games. It's really cool. When I was playing, oh my God, Shadow of the Colossus, I had speedrunners coming in, and like, it's so cool because the people who love these games are so excited to see other people playing them and having fun with them, and so it's just a really cool feeling. But yeah, it's a fun game and it's really silly, and the sounds are very appealing. They make my brain go burr, which is great. And the colors are bright and beautiful, and it's like a nice little break from anything serious. It's just stupid fun. I also so I played a game last week. I played it as well, but I was in a really crappy mindset, so I was like, let me do this again because I had to cover it for the publisher, who's also the dev, and I wanted to really do it right because I felt like it deserved it. So it's a game called Winter Survival, and it's by the same people who did like Food Truck Simulator and Gas Station Simulator. It's literally a winter survival simulator, but with a story behind it. And you're basically trying to figure out like where your friends went. Your friends went missing, and there's this gigantic bear, and you're trying to survive at the same time. And the game has mixed reviews on Steam, and I feel like it doesn't deserve negative reviews. It's a harder game. It's an indie game, and so yes, it's not going to have these. I mean, the graphics are still nice, but it's an indie game. The survival aspect of it is really fun, and it's realistic. Like if you're going to wash yourself off, like you get a stench, and animals can smell it, and you'll literally see what direction the wind is blowing to see like whether it's going to attract anything.
It's me every morning when I wake up.
You have to go wash off.
Hey,
so you have to go wash off, but to wash off, you have to take all your clothes off. And so you take your clothes off and you're washing off, and then you're getting cold. And then, because if you walk through water, your clothes are now wet. And so you have to make a drying line. And so you have to dry your clothes. But while the clothes are drying, you better make sure you build a fire because you're going to get cold. So it's tough. It's not as tough as The Long Dark, which is probably my favorite story-based, like, winter survival game. It's an amazing game. But I feel like for an indie game, I just hate seeing indie games get negative reviews when they shouldn't have them. And so I was happy I was able to kind of showcase it and show people what it was like. And, it was cool. It's a cool game. Very cool game. Now for my addiction. I've been playing the Once Human beta. I got accepted into the Once Human creator group. And so they gave us beta access and 15 beta keys to give away, which I successfully all gave away. And let me tell you, this game it's a tree puncher. but in the weirdest way possible. There is a damn bus with legs, and the legs have hands on the end of them, and it walks down the street. And when you drop it, you're able to go inside once a day and get the chest in there that drops like really good loot. But then you better make sure you run because it spits out aliens that are attacking you as you're doing it. This game is bizarre, like so bizarre. I beat my first boss with a damn fish. Okay. I put the clip on TikTok and it was hysterical. I was like, the boss was starting to get low and I was like, what if my last few hits are a fish? And I had this gigantic pike like literally strapped to me and it's still wiggling, it's still moving. And I grabbed that thing and I beat the shit out of this boss with this pike, wearing only my underwear. And it was epic. And it's the most bizarre game because it's a sci-fi survival game, but there's also there's vehicles in it and you can upgrade and repair those vehicles, and there's cooking and there's gardening and there is fishing and there is like, it's everything. It's almost like somebody said, so what would you like to include in your game? And the devs went, yes.
Scarecrows.
Oh, fuck those scarecrows. I hate them. I was not expecting them. And that was terrifying. I don't like scarecrows, but the game is so weird. It's so weird in the best ways possible. And what's really nice is one of the best aspects is you build your base, right? And you have all this, like, you find these things called deviants, and they're like these little helpers. So the first one you get is this butterfly, and you can use it to help you attack, right? You have this deviant with you, but then you also find other deviants. So I found this beaver that looked like a little stuffed animal beaver, and you put it in this containment unit, and then it goes out and it wanders around your house collecting logs. And then there's another one called the Digby. And that when you get that one once in a while, when you mine, you might find a Digby. And so now you have it in a containment unit. It goes out and it like mines stuff for you. I found a bee and the bee helps with vegetation. It is the weirdest game. I can't even describe to you how strange it is. I can't get enough of it. It is bizarre and amazing. But what's cool is you have this big intricate base with all this cool stuff. And let's say you're wandering, the map is gigantic. Let's say you're wandering and you go, wow, I love this spot. I'd love to move my base here. Okay, B for build, Z for move base, place it, enter, done. Your entire base moves. The entire base moves to wherever you want it to move. And so there is no like struggle of like, well, if I build here, then if I go to this other place, I'm going to want to build it. Nope, you just move your entire base. Everything goes with you. It's awesome. And this game is beautiful and like fun, and it's open world MMO. And so like you can turn on voice chat and you have like people who are like wandering around and you can meet people. And like, it is, I mean, one of the enemies I fought was an alien wearing a suit, and its head was a briefcase with big teeth and a gigantic tongue, and it was like spitting at me. And so I killed it, and then I was able to pick up the briefcase and control it and spit at other things. And I had this it's crazy, and I can't recommend it enough. And there's a beta going on for 42 days. The beta is going on. And every day they allow a certain number of people in without a code. There are creators giving away codes. I'm hoping they give us more codes to give away. But also in their Discord, they give away like 500 codes a day or something like that. So I highly, highly recommend it. It
sounds like weird. If you want to get in, it's not that hard. Well, that's cool.
You can get in. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
pretty cool.
I was very entertained by the bits of it that I was able to watch while I was working. But then I realized every time I got away from my desk, I'm like, I better turn this off because Mickey just has her ass hanging out the entire time. And
it's a big ass.
It's a big booty in revealing underoos, let's say.
Yes. Well, and the funny part of it is, so somebody left, you can leave like, how Dark Souls, you can like leave notes, So in this game, you can leave notes, and somebody left a note across from my house. Hold on, I'm going to bring it up. Somebody left a note across from my house, and I don't know this person, but it says, Goddess, Scenic Wonder. That's a fine woman right there. Woman with a foot-long fish in her pants. I don't know who this person is. They must have seen me like running around my base with this gigantic fish and beating the hell out of everything. And I have this beautiful little
and your
note
booty
there.
hanging out.
Well,
And
and
my
this
booty
was the
hanging
funny
out.
thing. So, like, when I started watching Mickey at work, she just wasn't wearing pants, and she had on a bulletproof vest. I come back after like a meeting, and the character has lost the bulletproof vest. It's more naked. I'm like, oh my gosh, can't be
Because
doing this at work. Can't be doing this at work.
the vest was too long. It was definitely covering way too
Is
much
that
of
why
her
you
ass.
ditched
And
the
I
vest?
was like, I'm sorry.
Because oh my
Yes!
god.
But it's meant to have, you can hide your armor. So I'm still wearing armor. I just hide it. Yeah. Right. My character has tattoos all over her chest, tattoos all over her arms, beautiful ass. So like, of course I'm going to hide the armor. Of course I'm going to carry a fish around and beat people with it. Come on.
That tracks.
Common
It
sense.
totally tracks for Kim. I mean, if you've gone to her Ko-fi channel, you know what I'm talking about. Totally tracks. I'm not surprised at all.
If I can make something wild, I'll make it wild.
I'm not surprised at all. Well, very good. That sounds like a solid week for you, Johnny. Let's hop over to you. I know you have some exciting news to share this week.
Yes, I have rectified the error of my ways, and I have achieved the true ending in Sea of Stars.
Johnny's redemption arc.
As I said last week, I was pretty damn close. I out of the 60 conks that I needed, I had, I think, 46. The mini game, which is called Wheels, is like a kind of a board game you have to beat different people at. And I think there's 6 Wheels champions. I'd done 4 out of the 6. It was a couple little side quests in here and there. It was I don't 3-4 hours. It wasn't that much. Mike, you're right. The Golden Pelican part was one of the best parts of the game. This game continues to just me coming back to it. I think it might be in my top 10 all time.
It is for me, for sure.
Like, it's that fucking good. So yeah, I still have nothing but great things to say about it. I'm not going to give it the 10 out of 10 that Mike did. I gave it a 9.8 previously, and I'm going to stick to it. Those 0.2 points, I'll tell you where they go.
I'm curious,
I'll tell you where they went away. There is no local map in this game. And out of my 40 hours of playing this game, I would say 3 or 4 of those hours was probably wasted running around the map randomly because I don't remember where the exit is. I don't remember if it's east or south or north. So I am just wandering aimlessly up paths and up ladders and down rivers and up and around and going, no, that's not okay. Maybe it's over here. And it's annoying because there's a map button and you can pull up a map, but the map just gives you like, you're on this island, you're on this continent, but there's no like, this dungeon has this path here and that path there. And like, if they added that, it'd be a 10 out of 10. That's literally it. And I know that seems really minor, but again, the sheer amount of time I've wasted running around those maps, it adds up. So I can't give it a 10, but it's damn fucking close. Moving down the list, Dragon's Dogma 2, I am getting closer and closer to beating it. I just turned in one of the bigger quests. There's a quest you get where they tell you to get something and they tell you how to get it and that you need a whole bunch of them. And you go, shit, that's going to take a while. Well, I just finished it. So notice I'm keeping this extremely spoiler free. But you're told to get something that you can only get from certain things, and those things are very tough to fight. But I finished that quest, and they sort of alluded to, well, now that you have this, the end of your journey is near. So I think I'm like probably going to beat this game this week. I think maybe this week or next. I'm getting close. So Dragon's Dogma 2, still loving it. I'm now max level Mystic Spear Hand. Mystic Spear Hand is fucking broken. There's one ranged attack that Mystic Spear Hand has. Sorry, I don't remember the name of it.
Me either.
You charge it up, and it gives you a little crosshair to aim, and you're like holding your spear, and your stamina bar just goes down and down and down and down and down. The longer you hold it, the harder it fucking hits. Dude, it hits so fucking hard. Like your guys are all fighting a Cyclops, and your tank's up there climbing on him, and you're just standing there just draining your entire fucking stamina bar and just shooting the Cyclops in the face, and they lose like 3/4 of a health bar. It's so much fun. So still really loving Dragon's Dogma 2, very close to beating it. Also Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Dear God, I'm so glad I haven't been playing fucking mini games. I'm back to a big open world portion of the game. I'm in a new zone, which is I'm in. If anybody that's played the original Final Fantasy VII, I'm in Gongaga, the big jungle area, and boy, I'm having a fucking hell of a fun time with this game now. The summons are getting really cool. My collection of materia grows. My collection of abilities learned from weapons grows, and I'm back to having fun with the game. Whereas last week I was like ready to I'd go throw it in the trash. I was so annoyed with minigames. So I'm glad to be out of minigame hell. I'm sure there's going to be some more of it, but I feel like I finally like gotten over that minigame hump, and I'm back to just enjoying the game. And lastly, like I said earlier, I got to play It Takes Two with my youngest. He's 11, but he's a hardcore gamer. He has beaten Breath of the Wild on Master Mode. He has beaten all kinds of other games. He's just like his daddy. He's a gamer. And him and I sat down and we knocked out, I think, 2 bosses. We got to the squirrels, and then I had to put him to bed. So yeah. So I think this will be like a weekend thing for him and I for the next few weeks until we get it knocked out. But the game's a hell of a lot of fun. It's great.
Oh, it's one of my favorite co-op games. I love that game so much.
The little parts where I had the nail gun and I had to like stop a platform by shooting a nail, or like, it's so clever the way they did it.
Super clever. Yeah.
Anybody that has somebody to play a game with on the couch next to you, co-op or online co-op, and you want a game to play, I mean, I know this game won like all the awards when it came out. It's a strong recommend.
Have you played it before, Johnny?
First time.
Understood.
Hadn't touched it.
I both love and hate that game. I love every moment of the gameplay of that game. But there's something that you haven't come to quite yet.
I'm aware, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Angers me and makes me sad to an inexplicable level. I'm actually, I don't use the word traumatized a lot because I think traumatized gets used incorrectly a lot. Like surviving a nuclear bomb is surviving a traumatic experience, or almost drowning in the ocean to undertow. Something that happened to me when I was a child. Yeah, that's traumatic. You almost fucking died. But if I just had to feel trauma from sadness, it's fucking It Takes Two's fault.
Yeah, no, that part of the game has been spoiled for me, and I'm not looking forward to it. And to be honest, it's a big part of the reason why I've avoided the game up to this point. I'm not looking forward to that part.
You're going to be sobbing with your son on the couch, but you're going to be crying, but you're going to have your fists clenched, and you're going to be angry while you're crying. It's like that kind of thing. So it's coming. Beware.
Yeah. No, I'm not
don't spoil it for him, though. He's going to be devastated. Yeah. Absolutely. Sorry. Was that? Did I let you get everything before I started ranting about my It Takes Two trauma? I've been playing games this week. Besides the fact of being incredibly busy, I continue to play Final Fantasy VII Remake. I was a little cold on it last week because the combat did not feel the best early on in the game. It just felt like I was smashing square. It's gotten the combat okay. Now I'm like, oh, okay. You start unlocking abilities, and it gets good. So I think the combat on the game is fine. Presentation is wonderful. Now, I am a huge Tifa stan, and I love the amount of Tifa and Tifa time that I'm getting in Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, Team Tifa all the way. Aerith, she's cool, but I'm Team Tifa through and through. So, having a good time with it. I know where I am in this game in relation to... because I know that it kind of ends upon exiting Midgar. So I'm like around the 35-40% of the way through the game point right now. It's really great. I love the presentation of it. So even as a purist kind of guy, I really like what's going on with this. And holy shit, did they make Jessie like way better in this game than what she was in the original. I mean, really the whole Avalanche crew. I mean, just hats off. So playing through Final Fantasy VII Remake, once again, I have fallen victim to Johnny's recommendations, and I've been playing The Messenger. And you know what, man? I really like this game. I think there's some good feeling energy to it. that makes it unique. I would never in a million years describe it as a Metroidvania, though. It is totally not a Metroidvania at all. This is just an old school side-scrolling action game.
I'm not
That's
saying
fine.
a word.
You know, Johnny's now insinuating something's going to happen that turns it into a Metroidvania. That's cool. I mean, there's been a couple of elements of it presented, but yeah, it hasn't Metroidvania'd all over me yet. So I wouldn't.
Sounds dirty.
Samus can do whatever she wants to me.
Amen. Yes, Lord.
Yeah, I will not argue that.
Really good game, really solid. Like it a lot. Finally, the game that I've been obsessed with lately is a game called Balatro. Balatro is really good, guys. Balatro
it's on my
is
wish list.
really good. Now, for those PlayStation stands like myself that have a PlayStation Premium tier subscription, you do get an hour to try the game before you buy it. I thought that this was the best way for me to check it out. The second that hour expired, I bought it. It was only $15. I'm like, well, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Fine. This game is so worth that. So what Balatro is, it is a roguelike deck building poker game. Okay? Roguelike deck building poker game. Let's handle the deck building part first. So in this game, you have a 52 card deck of playing cards, but as you play through it, you can make modifications to the deck. You can change the suits of some of your cards to make it more likely to, say, get straights or flushes. You can modulate your playing card deck, which is really cool. You can also give cards in your deck special abilities, like increasing multipliers on rounds or getting special cards for leaving them in your hand and not playing them. There's so many great roguelike pieces to a playing card deck. There's also a component of jokers. And jokers are like an ongoing ability that you carry from round to round of the game that can increase multipliers on your score, that give you different special abilities and things. And so having a successful run in Balatro is really about maximizing the jokers you have. It's about maximizing the deck that you're playing the game with. And it's also about these completely special cards called celestial cards and tarot cards. And what those do is they level up the hands that you play. So, for example, if I play a pair, you can play a level 1 pair where you only get a multiplier of 2, but as you level it up, I mean, you can reach absurd figures like up to 20 multiplier, 30, 40, whatever. So it's really cool because you kind of have to strategize, okay, what hands am I going to focus on leveling up? How am I going to find jokers that maximize this strategy that I want to employ? And then when am I going to run into a boss that has a debuff that completely saws my nuts off, like no face cards or no pairs or every card you draw is face down. So this game is really cool. I did have a success. I did beat the game, quote unquote. I had a successful winning run through the game, but as you do that, there's different levels of difficulty. So that I'm playing it on PlayStation, I would say I'm not going to feel like I truly have beaten this game until I've unlocked the gold trophies for beating it on one of the harder difficulties. So not going to say I beat it, even though I did beat the game that's in front of me. It's really good. This is such a no-brainer game for someone to pick up that likes playing card games, that likes, anyone that likes Marvel Snap or Hearthstone. This game is made for you. It's going to be an absolute addiction. You're going to love it. It's finely tuned. It plays really well. And it's cheap. You pay $15 one time, and the game's yours. That's it.
All right, I'm sold.
It's must buy, must play. Johnny, this game this game is gonna blow you the fuck away, dude.
I'm sold.
100%. So, if there was one person that I know in my life that this game was like built to be a 10 for, it's you. So you're gonna love this game. Strongly recommend checking it out. $15 to buy it, and again, if you have PlayStation Plus Premium, use that free trial on it. You get a whole hour with the game before you make a decision, and I almost assure you that you will want to own this game after you play it. So that wraps.
It's $11 on Instant Gaming.
There you go for you, for PC boy, Johnny. Go get it. Go get it right now.
I'm
You're gonna
literally
love it.
doing it right now.
Okay, that wraps up what we have been playing this week. Which brings us to the final segment of our show, One Up. Guys, full admission, I do not have a one up this week, so I'm going to defer to my lovely fellow hosts here. Kim, let's come back to you first. Do you have a one up for us this week?
I gotta be honest, I thought of something and didn't write it down, and
Now it's gone.
Typical Kim fashion, it's completely
All
gone.
right,
yeah?
plug your channels.
And I'll probably think of it
Plug your
later
channels
tonight.
at least. Be like,
Plug my channel. Twitch.tv/MickeyRan is where I'm mostly found. I throw all my shorts on my socials, which are most often at I am Mickey Ran. YouTube is at Mickey Ran. And my Ko-fi is also Mickey Ran.
strong recommend on the Ko-fi.
I think.
Strong recommend.
I haven't recorded in like a few
okay,
weeks though,
forgive you.
but
I forgive you. I get it.
I've not been sleeping
Hey,
because
we
my
talked
shoulder. So
If
bad.
you want to hear all about Kim's life, listen to last week's episode. It was really good.
I agree.
That's only a little
Snippet.
little
Tidbit.
Little
If you
tidbit.
come to her Twitch channel, you'll learn everything about her in like the course of a month. So
I talk a lot about I help people like get started, and when people think of like I'm thinking of starting streaming, I love talking about it. It's one of my favorite things.
Johnny, to you, sir, do you have a one up for us this week?
I just hit the install
Oh my
button on
god.
Balatro.
Yes.
Yes. It is at 50%. It's done downloading. I'm gonna play right now. My one up is apparently the Fallout TV series is awesome. Everybody's freaking out about it.
Starting it tonight.
I know it's not video game related, but y'all should watch X-Men 97. If you were a fan of the old X-Men cartoon, they're fucking killing it right now. They're absolutely fucking killing it. I know it's not video game. Sorry, Mike.
That's fine. I have been watching.
I got that Marvel
I have
plug
been watching
at
a
the end.
TV show lately. Yeah, the Ronin show that's on Hulu.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good.
The Ronin show? You mean Shogun?
Yes, Shogun. Thank you.
Oh,
I knew what he meant when he said
so
Ronin.
good. So good.
Loving
It's
it.
so good. Yeah.
Well,
That's great.
Well, everyone, that wraps this week's episode of the Power Gamer Podcast. Johnny, don't doubt my time estimating skills, sir.
I know
you doubted me.
You were
and
right.
it still ran over. So that, which is totally
I
fine.
did.
It's podcast. That's what you're here for. You're going to be sad that
Mhm.
you have to wait another week till you can hear us some more.
That's
So,
right.
right.
Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends.
Yeah.
Until, man, I was so thrown off by the YouTube man thing. I'm like, what do I say when I end the show? I completely blanked.
Wait, what?
I
What
just
happened?
blanked. My brain went dead, but it's back. Okay, ready? We're gonna wrap this.
Yes.
Okay,
let's
yeah,
do it.
all right, okay. Let's go.
We
Cut.
will, of course,
Action.
be back again next week with another great episode of the Power Gamer Podcast for you to enjoy. Until that time, I'm Mike Dawson.
I'm Johnny Paulus.
And I am Kim. I have nothing interesting to add between my names, Ponicello.
Tune in next time. Take care.
Catch you on the flip flop.
Yeah.
You will.
It's a weekly thing.